back to Cruising as Crew. My name is Lucy and today we are going to talk about side jobs on cruise ships. So it is quite common actually that crew members will have a side job alongside their main job that they have been hired for. So for example, I work in the shops and I'm also a beauty therapist, so I could do massage or like eyebrow tinting in my spare time. I don't because I have YouTube. That's my side job. But actually it's very common for some crew members to have little side jobs. So in this video I'm going to go through all of the side jobs that I have known to be a thing on board cruise ships, and we're going to start with the most common and go to the least common. If you find yourself enjoying this video, please press the like button because it really helps me out with the algorithm. But let's get into the video. So number one, the first side job, and by far the most common, is hairdresser. So as everyone probably knows, you can get your hair cut in the salon, in the spa on board the cruise ship. However, their prices are a little bit more on the luxury end, let's say. So people don't want to spend $40 to $50 on a haircut, especially if you're a man and you're used to spending $10 to $20 when you are home. So on every cruise ship I have been on, there has always been one or two hairdressers. Usually they are like laundry guys or housekeeping, and in their spare time they cut crew's hair to make a bit of extra money, and they usually charge $5 to $10 for a haircut. And I remember on my last ship this guy actually lived like 2 doors down from me, so I would leave my cabin of an evening maybe to go to crew bar or something, and there would be a line of people outside my room all waiting for this guy to cut their hair because he was really good, and it was $5 and he was making an absolute arm and a leg. I think it was once a week on an evening he did it, and he would do it at least 10 people a week on that one night. So yeah, he was making a very nice supplementary wage. The second side job that is very common on board cruise ships is cleaning cabins. So if you are an officer or someone of high status on board, you will have a single cabin, and part of your perk package will be that you get your cabin cleaned. Maybe I think it's once a week, sometimes it's every day, but it really does depend on the cruise line. And if you are of lower status on board, like myself, you normally have to share a cabin and you don't get your cabin cleaned. And it's pretty common for the single cabins to be positioned with the sharing cabins. So on all of my previous ships, I have always lived opposite because like all the single cabins have portholes, so they're always on the outside of the ship, and then the internal cabins are the bunk bed cabins. So I've always lived opposite to like higher status cabins, if you like. So what happens is every section of the ship has a housekeeper that will clean the cabins. So on my last ship I would just collar one of the guys, just be like, hey, since you're, you know, cleaning this area, do you mind cleaning my cabin? And we would pay him $30 a month. And actually, from what I've heard and people, $30 a month seems like a pretty standard rate. So if you pay someone that cleans the single cabins $30 a month, then they will clean your cabin once a week. They do clean the single cabins for free because that is just part of their job description. But if you want your cabin cleaned, then you can do so. And I mean, especially when I shared a cabin, I 100% thought it was worth it because it was split 2 ways, so it was $15 each, and it saved you having to do it. And especially when I worked in the spa and I had like no time off, the last thing I want to do is spend my time off pulling hair out of the drain. So to be able to pay someone $15 a month and have them like make sure the bathroom is spotless once a week, hoover, bring new bed linen and change the sheets, dust, I mean, like it was money well spent. So luckily I'm in a single cabin on Virgin and I get my cabin cleaned on Virgin. But that is the second most common side job on cruise ships. Number 3 is eyebrow threading. There's always a huge call out for eyebrows. One, because again the spa prices are usually quite high, and also in the spa they only wax, and if people are accustomed to having their eyebrows threaded, then they definitely want that while they're on board. And there was a girl on one of my previous ships. I worked with a girl in the spa who could thread, so as a side job she would thread people's eyebrows, and she would charge like $15 a go, which is a pretty reasonable price. Oh my god, she actually made more money threading eyebrows than she made in the spa. Like, it was insane. And again, if you've got eyebrow tint and you can dye eyebrows, or if you could do anything like that, then that is definitely something that is, like, there's a huge call out for that. Yeah, and especially if you're good at it, because girls, we all know it's very hard to find a good eyebrow person, and you know, you don't trust just anyone with your eyebrows. So if you can, you know, so if you're good at threading eyebrows, then yeah, there's definitely money to be made if you want to do that in your spare time. And the good thing about threading eyebrows is there's no outlay. I mean, all you need is thread and a pair of tweezers, so, and maybe some cotton pads. Anyway, but anything like that, I mean, tinting eyelashes, eyelash extensions, especially individual eyelash extensions, there's always girls who want that done. So if you have that skill set, then do it. I think so for people who don't know, I am a trained beauty therapist, a trained masseuse, and I worked in the spa before I worked in the shops on board. So if YouTube was not my side hustle, I would definitely be doing like eyelashes and eyebrows, but I don't have the time at the moment. So anyway, but yeah, that is definitely a way to make quite a lot of money. Number 4, doing laundry. This is a brilliant side hustle. So I have mentioned in previous videos that doing laundry is like the ultimate thing that I hate to do on cruise ships, because it's not as easy as doing laundry at home. Like, you can't just go down to your kitchen and bung your stuff in the washing machine and let it do its thing. You have to, yes, take your stuff to the laundry, but there's probably no washing machines free. And then if there's a load of you waiting for a free washing machine, it's stressful. It's really stressful waiting for a washing machine to be free and then making sure you're the first one in there. And then if you do get your stuff in the washing machine, I mean, that's fine, but then you have to come back and put it in the dryer. And again, if there's no dryers free, you have to wait for a free dryer. But unlike the washing machines, the dryers don't lock. So you can put your stuff in the dryer, leave it for an hour, come back thinking it's all nice and dry, and find that 10 minutes into the drying cycle, someone took it out the dryer to put their stuff in. So your clothes are still soaking wet on the side somewhere. Now, that doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen, and it happened more on other ships that I was on. And honestly, it's the most soul-destroying thing, because sometimes it genuinely takes you like 4 hours to do laundry, with the waiting time and the washing and drying time. And honestly, it is just, it's horrible. I hate it. So there are people that don't mind doing that, and they'll do your laundry for you. Now obviously you pay them, and it's the same as housekeeping. You pay them like $30 to $40 a week, and they will do a load of laundry for you once a week. Now you might be thinking, like, why is this more expensive than paying someone to clean your cabin? Well, one, it's just up to the person that does it how much they charge, but also it is a faff, and I would gladly pay. Especially, again, if you're sharing a cabin and you don't mind going halves with your roommate, that's £20 a month to have a load of washing done once a week, and it means that you're saving yourself a lot of time. And if you don't have a lot of time off, then this is a really worthwhile thing to spend your money on. Again, on Virgin, I don't have to consider paying anyone to do my laundry, because there's a lot of laundry machines. They all seem to work, and everyone seems to be very courteous around here about not taking laundry out while it's soaking wet in the dryer. Touch wood, it's actually never happened on here, which is amazing. But anyway, yeah, that is definitely one that I would never do it, because I hate doing laundry, but it is definitely one that I would pay for. The next one is massage. So again, in the spa, to get a massage, you are going to pay out the nose for a massage. But yeah, if you are a trained masseuse, this is a side job opportunity. So again, on my last ship, there was a guy from Bali who was a fully trained masseuse. I don't know what he did. I think he was a barman. on board. Yeah, he was a barman on board. And in his spare time he would do massages. So he would go to your cabin if you asked him to, and he would do a full body massage for $30, or no, $35, and it would be an hour. You get an hour massage for $35, and honestly, it was one of the best massages I've ever had. Like, he was amazing. And nothing weird, like just a massage, and it was great. And he was a really, really nice guy, and again, he raked it in. And although I can imagine this must have been quite hard, because after working a full shift, being a barman, and then doing massages during the day, like, that's a lot because you don't get any rest. So $35 times 5 times a week times 4 in a month, that's like $700 a month. That's $700, like, on top of your normal paycheck. That's mad. That is literally some people's salary, and that's what he was making from his side job on board. Now, of course, there was also spa therapists that were doing massage in their spare time, because why not? I mean, that's literally what they are there to do. That's what they're good at, but also they get to keep 100% of the profits. Now, this is absolutely not allowed, because the idea is that you're working for the company and all the money goes through the company. So, you know, if someone is doing massages outside of spa hours and they work in the spa, then you have to keep this very hush-hush. But yeah, I mean, I can completely see why people did it, because, you know, again, yes, all right, you're only charging $50, but you get to keep all of that $50, whereas, you know, you're charging nearly $200 in the spa and you get maybe $20 out of that at the end of it. So yeah, I can definitely see why girls did massage outside of spa hours. Now, this one is controversial, definitely. It is definitely not allowed, not above board, but it does happen, and I have seen it happen on, I would say 80% of the ships that I have been on, there has been a tattoo artist. There has been a crew member that has bought his tattoo gun and his ink from home, and he does tattoos out of his cabin. Usually they're not very good. Actually, no, there was one guy on Royal Caribbean and they were insane. They were genuinely incredible, and he was charging, I think my friend got his back done, his whole back done, and it was beautiful Japanese art, like really, really, really incredible. Probably would have cost about $1,000 if he'd have got it done professionally, and I think he paid $150 for this guy to do it in his cabin. And most of these tattoo artists, I mean, most of them aren't great, because they're people that want to be tattoo artists, so they're kind of using this as a training exercise. So you basically don't have to pay anything, because one, he's doing it out of the cabin, and two, if someone's doing a tattoo out of the cabin, you kind of have low expectations anyway. Don't know how safe this is, don't know how sanitary everything was, but I just know that this was a thing and is a thing. So if you are, no, I'm not going to promote it, because it's, like I said, it's not allowed. But yeah, it's definitely a side job that happens on cruise ships. The next one is waxing. So I had a roommate once, and she was great at waxing. She loved waxing. So she got on board, she ordered all of the waxing stuff to the ship from Amazon, wax pot, spatulas, strips, everything, lotion. And of an evening she would just have a little waxing station set up in the cabin, and girls would come and get their legs waxed. A few guys would have their backs waxed, or some girls would have their bikini waxed, or whatever. And again, they'd pay I think she charged $10 an area, which is great. You could have a half leg wax for $10, or a bikini wax for $10, or a back wax for $10. She, again, absolutely raked it in, because, I don't know, it would take her 10 minutes and she would make $10. So good on her. This is a little bit of a weird one, but it is teaching. So obviously you're working on a cruise ship with people from all over the world, many different backgrounds and cultures and many different skill sets. So if you do have a skill that you can teach, then why not do that on board? So for example, on one of my P&O ships there was a guy who was an incredible guitarist, and he had bought 2 guitars on board with him. So he would set himself up on the I-95 of an evening and he would do guitar lessons. So I think he was charging like $7. It was $7 for a half an hour guitar lesson. And I mean, how lovely. He would just sit on the A1A teaching these people guitar. There was one guy who did it religiously and actually got really good. Then there was also a girl that did knitting, so she did like knitting classes. She taught people how to knit. But yeah, so if you have any kind of skill like that you would be willing to teach people, then I mean, you've got a captive audience. And the thing is with cruise ships, I'm going off to the side a little bit here, but as many crew members will know, there's not really a lot to do if you have spare time. Like, you can go to the crew bar or you can go out in port. So especially during COVID, if you couldn't go off the ship because of COVID and crew bar was closed or no one was in crew bar, like, what are you going to do? Sit in your cabin and watch TV? So if there's someone running a little class, like a knitting class, a guitar class, a chess class, like if you could teach people how to play chess or poker or whatever, people would attend. People want to be entertained. So whatever skill you have, you could teach. The next one is braiding hair. So I guess this kind of ties in with haircuts. Well, not really, it's a completely separate thing. There's a lot of guys and girls who want to have their hair braided, and there are a lot of people on board cruise ships that are very good at it. Normally they would set up a little station just outside of their cabin and people would be queuing up to get their hair braided or to have a weave put in or have extensions put in. And the last one, which is definitely the least common, is piercing. So there was a girl, I've only seen it once, but there was a girl who did piercing on board. She was a qualified piercer, so she bought all of her equipment on board, and yeah, she charged like $10 a piercing, which is really amazing. Like, you could get anything pierced for, I think she charged more for body piercings, but like nose, lip, ears, like it was $10 to get it pierced. And because she was fully trained, like she did everything, like everything was very sanitary, and you know, she had the proper equipment. It wasn't like a botched job, but it was something she did in her spare time because she was a chef. She was a chef, yeah. Yeah, $10 a piercing, and she made, I believe, quite a lot of money from that, because every time I went past her little station there was always people getting something pierced. Alright guys, so that is a list of side jobs that crew members have when they are working on board cruise ships. If you have enjoyed that video, then please press the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you are subscribed, then thank you so much, and I appreciate you so much. But yeah, if you have any video suggestions or questions about side jobs on cruise ships, then please leave them in the comments, or you can DM me on Instagram at CruisingUsCrew, but I'm more likely to get back to you in the comments. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, whatever you decide to do. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.